alongside Brett Taveau, author of Unpacking Greatness, a Chiefs book you can find on Amazon. Brett, we're going to talk about the defense this week. Done a lot of offensive videos before, but defense was one of their best performances of the season against the Seahawks. And as we talk about every week of the details, a couple of the biggest plays on 4th down made because the Chiefs got the details right.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I think this was probably overall the best um, day the defense had execution wise. First, what was an offense that was scoring some points. I know they struggled a couple weeks, coming into this game, but overall, just what's been a pretty good offense.
Yeah, we're going to break down a couple of the 4th down stops the Chiefs got. The first one was George Karlaftis. Obviously, excuse me, he batted down a pass, but these next two also made by rookies, one by Brian Cook, one by Trent McDuffie. But as I mentioned before, a lot of the small nuances became very big in these plays, and we're seeing the defense, at least this last Saturday, start to make some of these plays that maybe they hadn't earlier in the season.
For sure. So, yeah, this first play, you see Seattle's in a trip set, and I think it's fourth and 5 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Okay, so what such a common when you're expecting man coverage is for the offense to run a pick or rub scheme. The Chiefs do this and sprint out to it a lot on 4th and 3rd and short. And as you have noted, they basically try to pick for the number 3 receiver here. And the Chiefs are playing and yes, clear space with this number 1 receiver running off. And the Chiefs are playing a form of man coverage here with a bracket up on DK Metcalf up top to double him. And they are playing with outside leverage. And this becomes, in a reason, and as we'll see, a difference in the next play we look at man coverage where they're going to be inside leverage and why. But Nick Bolton there, who is a free linebacker in this scheme, is able to wall off any slants and crossers and help take away those routes. And that's why they're able to play with outside leverage here in man coverage.
And real quick, Brett, outside leverage means you're basically playing on the outside. You're trying to force those guys inside because you have help to the inside. And in this case, what we have highlighted here is Nick Bolton's that help. So if you are these outside cornerbacks, if you funnel that toward the middle, you have help toward the middle. And that's why you want to try to kind of push those guys in a certain direction.
Correct. But what Cook does extremely well here is disguise. As he's going to show what looks to be very similar to the next step, which is a too high man coverage, cover 2 man, I guess. And what it does is it creates confusion here by this number 2 receiver that he's going to run in and he's going to pick Bolton. And what that does is it's going to free up Cook, who's assigned to cover him man, to be able to get out there. And one of the things that defensive coaches stress in man coverage is to have those man defenders play at different levels. Don't play at the same depth because you're more susceptible to picks and rubs that way. So him rolling down late and played at a different depth does create a little bit of indecision and allows him to drive and make a tackle short of the first down here.
Again, just a perfect example of those little details. I mean, Brian Cook basically makes this play before the snap because he makes it look like 2 high coverage. It makes it look like he's a deep safety. The wide receiver reads that, and he thinks that Bolton is covering this receiver to the outside. He picks Bolton, does a great job of it, but Bolton's not guarding this tight end. So instead, Brian Cook is able to make it through the traffic and make this tackle. So a great example of these details making a big difference. And Brian Cook is a rookie coming along and performing its assignment very well.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to the second one, and Seattle in a different formation here on this 4th down stop.
Yeah, so they're in a 2-by-2 attached tight end up top to the boundary there, and then what's called the open side down here to the field where you've got 2 receivers. And right here you have a similar look. It's a different formation, so it looks different from a defensive perspective. But what you do have is man coverage with 2 high safeties. Obviously, the safeties are a little bit deep, so they're going to run cover 2 man here, where they're going to play man underneath with 2 deep safeties.
Yeah.
And as you go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got this. You were talking about the fade out concept that Seattle's going to run and what they're trying to accomplish with that.
And this is exactly, I mean, if you've got fourth or third, a down where you've got to have 6 or 8 yards, and you're anticipating man coverage, particularly cover a 2-man here. This is about as good a concept as you can call, because your outside receiver is going to take 2 with him here. He's going to clear that safety, and he's going to clear the corner, which clears space for that speed out. Plus, the Chiefs are playing with inside leverage, so naturally you're going to have that advantage to win that outside space. So there you see it play out exactly like Seattle wants it to, but as we got details here. We've got a defensive lineman, as you'll see in a second, that's going to make an impact, and then really, really good technique by our rookie corner.
Yeah, so the question is, does he impact this throw? We have the end zone view. I went and popped this up into there, and this is what it looked like. I'm sorry, on that pause there when we got Dunlap here. Does he impact that throw? It sure looks like it. He's big, he's tall, he's going over 2 linemen, and that extended reach might make Geno Smith throw this ball in a different spot than he wanted to.
Absolutely. It could cause him to push that ball a little bit to the outside. And, Jesse, you and I were talking for the show. It looks like the receiver ran that route short of the sticks when in fact he did not. He ran that route exactly where he should have. He's a yard past the sticks right there. But, I think both from a schematic focus here from Steve Spagnuolo, forcing Geno Smith to be able to put a ball on the line, on a line on a very cold day outside the numbers, forcing him to make a perfect throw in that situation. But McDuffie here in man coverage does a good job staying disciplined, understanding that he's been beaten to the outside, which is okay here because he's got inside leverage. But the most important part of this is to stay disciplined with your eyes. Don't lose sight of the man and really, really drive that inside hip and try to tackle him immediately.
And we see that throw a little bit to the sideline, and McDuffie is right there to make the tackle. So on that play, at least, again, Seattle kind of has what it wants with this particular coverage. They sort of have that outside leverage, able to get to the outside, make that throw to the numbers. But Carlos Dunlap throws off a little bit because of his rush, his ability to get in the face of Geno Smith. And then again, a great technique by Trent McDuffie and an ability here at the end to make that immediate tackle and drive on a player who didn't quite get to the sticks, even though, like we talked about, that route is to the sticks. It's just the throw is not exactly perfect. The Chiefs turnover on downs or get the turnover on downs.
Yeah, two big 4th-down stops there, and there was another one that you and I had talked about looking at as well. But the defense just had it's such a razor thin margin for error in the NFL, no matter who you're playing. And to be able to get, 3 big stops on 4th down, at least that, there may have been more, but it just totally swings the game.
Yeah, I think the different part with this game is last week against Houston, it sure seemed like the Chiefs dominated statistically, and they had some of these type of plays go against them, the turnovers, the big-time plays. This game was pretty close statistically, but these are the type of plays that the Chiefs won on Saturday, the reason that they were able to control the game and able to pull away from the Seahawks in this one. And again, goes back to the details, whether it's Brian Cook, whether it's Trent McDuffie, whether it's Carlos Dunlap. A lot of small details went the Chiefs' way in this particular game. It's the reason they came away with that big victory against the Seahawks. That's going to do it for the details this week. For Brett, this is Jesse. Be sure to tune in for another episode next week.